Welcome to the August 5th, 6 p.m. or calling to order at 6:05 p.m. the August 5th meeting of the Affordable Housing Trust. And this is the first time we've met formally since February 17th.
Yeah.
So
we have a new member.
Welcome, select board member, Jennifer Stacy.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. I am
Thank you.
really excited to be working with this group. When we had the option of kind of picking which groups to work with, I was very eager to get involved with this group. The charge of this group is critically important to thinking about the values and the character for our community and making sure that there's housing options across the spectrum, which is just such an important thing. It connects to so many elements of what we do here. So I just love it. So thank you for having me. Do you want me to say anything else, Nikki, or?
No, that's great. We're so excited to have you and excited that you understand and are excited by the mission of our board as well. So I'm sure you're going to be great.
Yeah, thank you. For background, I joined the select board in April, and I was on the finance committee for 3 years before that. So thank you for having me and looking forward to working with you all.
Thanks for jumping on.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, well, we can just go right on into it. Has everyone had a chance to review the February 17th meeting minutes?
Yes.
And if so, would someone like to make a motion to approve them?
Yeah.
Can I make the motion?
I'll make the motion. I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second them. I'll second the motion. All in favor? And then this is on remote. We all have to go through roll call.
We do.
Okay. Wayne, do you want to read the charge out?
Yes. So we have a motion by Sheedy and a second by Dastumian to accept the February 17, 2021 minutes. This is a roll call vote. I'll call folks, state your last name and yes. Nikki?
Dastumian, yes.
Amy's not here. Jennifer?
AC, yes.
And Chris-Ann is here. So Chris-Ann?
Sheedy, yes.
And Samantha?
Hill, yes.
Thank you. And Stephanie?
Alves, yes.
Awesome. Thank you. Great.
Okay, great. So moving on, the next order is the trust board reorganization. So we're going to be electing chair and clerk. Chair obviously is me. Clerk is Amy, who is not currently here right now. How do you want to proceed with this, Wayne?
The clerk is it's like required by the bylaw, but never actually does anything. Technically, I think they're the person who does the minutes, but that's me. I've in the past, I think Amy's always been very happy to just serve the role. And I think it would make sense to have a motion and second for Nikki as chair and Amy as clerk.
I will make that motion to nominate Nikki to continue as chair because she does a fabulous job. And I also nominate Amy. It's what happens when you don't show up.
Cool. And do we have a second?
I second. Do I have to say each one?
No, you can just second that. That's
I
fine.
second both of those nominations.
Thank you. And then we'll do the roll call again. So Nikki?
Dastumian, yes.
Jennifer?
Stacy, yes.
Chris-Ann?
Sheedy, yes.
Samantha?
Hill, yes. Sorry,
Thanks.
the
No worries.
buttons.
And Stephanie?
Alves, yes.
Awesome, thanks.
Thanks, everyone. Okay, so the next up is the trust budget. And I think Wayne sent us all a copy of the budget. Update and potential allocation among trust sub-accounts. Okay.
Yeah, so
Pulling up the budget right now.
yeah, so we got at the May 17th annual town meeting, we got the 10% community housing set aside, allocated to the Affordable Housing Trust, and that's 177,500. And we should consider a couple of things. One, allocating it to different sub accounts, and then secondly, closing down a couple of sub accounts for projects that are pretty much finished. So I have a suggestion. Let me get here. And I also talked to the town accountant, and she recommended allocating 33,000 for admin. So as a first cut, and then maybe at future meetings, we could get a little more detailed as we identify projects we're taking on. We could allocate, I'm reading off my cheat sheet here, forgive me. We could let's see, we could allocate 33,000 to the administration sub account, and the remaining 144,500 to the small development general account. And that would take care of that annual town meeting award. And then two projects that are definitely wrapped up that we're not expecting any more expenses on, and if we do, it'll be very, very minimal, would be 300 Foundry and 610 Electric. So would recommend transferring $11,282.88 from the small development 300 Foundry Street account to the small development general sub account, and transferring the 2000, get back here, $2,849.93 from the small development 610 Electric Avenue sub account to the small development general sub account.
Okay.
If that makes sense to folks.
So moved.
Okay, and then we have another potential, well, actually, no, we'll worry about that later. We'll just do this now. So let me clean up some language and I'll read it back for clarity. Recommend allocating from the $177,500 fiscal year 2022 town meeting appropriation, 33,000 to the CPA Affordable Housing Administration subaccount, and the remaining $144,500 to the small development general subaccount. Also recommend closing out the accounts for two completed projects by transferring $11,282.88 from the small development 300 Foundry Street account to the small development general subaccount, and transferring $2,849.93 from the small development 610 Electric Avenue subaccount to the small development general subaccount. And we have a motion from Sheedy.
I'll second.
And a second from Estonia. Let me note that. Okay, and we can do our little round robin again. Let me get to my list so I keep it consistent. Nikki?
Dostumian, yes.
Jen?
AC, yes.
Thanks. Chris?
Sheedy, yes.
Sam?
Hill, yes.
Stephanie?
Alves, yes.
Awesome, thank you.
So this is approximately like a $160 or so $1,000 deposit into small development general.
Yeah. And I'll and so we'll still have a couple random ones hanging around, but as we get further into the year, some of these projects might be still doing things. We've got Paquonicut, which is still technically alive because we still have to do an RFP for that. And then there's Morse Road, which we've been paying for out of the small development general. We'll have presumably a housing production plan consultant to pay for, and that could probably come out of the small development general. And then another thing to consider is our home buyer assistance grant program. Real estate is so very expensive right now that no one can actually make it work. Everything just gets bid up and then sold, like the very next day. So, we may want to consider that as we do a more comprehensive planning for what the trust gets up to in the years ahead. But, right now it's at 194,000, and, maybe we just want to just keep it at an even 100. The maximum grant is $95,000. And so maybe just keep it at an even 100 and bump it along. But, we can talk about that at a future meeting. I just wanted to get the town meeting appropriation allocated. And then we can, be a little more thoughtful and mindful about the specific projects and programs we want to take up going forward. So right now we've got about $731,000 in hand, which is pretty nice. So that's great. We've got some money we can actually do some really interesting projects with, I think, going forward. So thank you for that.
Thank you. Okay, so we're comfortable leaving it at that? Leaving all there, closing out the 2 accounts, adding it to small development, and also leaving home buyer assistance program as is for now. We'll discuss it again at a future meeting. Okay, great, we can move on. The next agenda item is the housing production plan update, contract award.
So I solicited quotes and ran into some roadblocks. A lot of the consultants that have done this work in the past are no longer doing it. And we only got one response back from Old Colony Planning Council. And so I sent their response out to folks. It's for $30,000. And they can get us an updated housing production plan, within the time frame that we need to get it done, because our 5-year housing production plan expires at the very end of January 22. And as folks may remember, the state requires you to have a state-approved updated housing production plan. They're good for 5 years. And that is the item that keeps you, that you need to be compliant with Chapter 40B. So your housing production, your affordable housing production, your affordable units, which are called subsidized housing inventory, SHI, qualified units, are all measured against complying with your housing production plan. So we really need to have a new one in place starting February 1st. And then with this, and we can probably talk with them a little bit to revise or to, when we go to actually work on a work plan for the contract with Old Colony, in addition to the housing production plan, the Affordable Housing Trust would like a 5-year action plan that has specific annual budget asks that we take to town meeting. And the action plan is what we use to back up this annual budget request at town meeting. And the action plan tries to map out the specific projects and programs we hope to do each year and how much that would roughly cost. So I look forward to a fall and early winter of really working with you guys and a consultant to sort of plan what the trust is looking to tackle, both ongoing programs and 1 or 2, whatever our next big project is going to be, having brought 300 Foundry to a close, and we bought and restricted and resold a house, and we've done some habitat projects. So what next? So some pretty exciting conversations. So do folks have thoughts or comments about the proposal or the housing production plan?
I was wondering.
Wayne, who did the last plan?
Community Opportunities Group led, and the project lead was a woman named Roberta Cameron. And she is going to be, I believe, the CPA staff person for the city of Somerville starting, I think, in July. She just started. And Community Opportunities Group is no longer doing housing production plans. Yeah, I called her up and I'm like, hi, would you like to get a request for a quote? She's like, yeah, about that. So I sort of called like all the stable of folks I know, and a lot of folks just aren't doing it anymore.
Do we update our 5-year action plan, or do we make it now and try to stick to it?
We we had one that expired a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And we haven't really updated it since then. Perhaps we could envision an action plan as something, a living document that we could revise our own selves in-house year to year if we need to. But I would love to have a sort of facilitated conversation and a structure for this 5-year plan. Because it's to my mind, both the housing production plan and an affordable trust action plan, they're very allied documents, and sometimes you see them as being like the same thing, the same entity. The housing production plan has a robust implementation aspect to it. But for our purposes, I like sort of a standalone one, and I look on it as our our public relations piece, something that you can just easily give to people, show people. I'd look for graphics or verbiage that we could, copy and paste into other presentations or, other advocacy mailings and such. But yeah, I think we could consider, once we get one, revisit it once a year and see if we need to revise it.
Okay.
Probably be a good practice.
It's curious because there's something to be said for having it be like a roadmap and versus a changing document. So there's probably a balance somewhere in between.
Yeah.
Sorry. Are we going to be voting on whether or not to give what is it, grant this to Old Colony?
I think we should. I think that would be prudent, and since we have a very short time between now and the end of January, we actually kind of do need to get started, so we can get this thing done and approved by the planning board and the select board and the state, because there's going to be 1 or 2 public meeting requirements and a lot of data research and a couple meetings with this group.
Yeah.
So I think a motion and a second, if folks are comfortable, to award the housing production plan update contract to Old Colony Planning Council for $30,000.
That's the word I was looking for. I'll make a motion to award Old Colony the contract for the Easton
Housing production plan update.
housing production plan.
Yeah.
Development, an action plan, 5-year action plan. Wow.
I will second that.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm sorry. I don't know if you can hear all the goings on in my house, but I'll mute.
As I've said before, one of the best things about having remote meetings is working mothers can actually attend with a dull roar in the background. That's why we have a mute function. Yeah, thank you. So we have a motion from Dastumian, a second from Sheedy, to award the housing production plan update contracts and 5-year action plan contract to Old Colony Planning Council for $30,000. And we can do a round robin again. Nikki?
Assuming yes.
Thank you. I've lost my place. Jen?
Stacy, yes.
Thanks. Chris?
Sheedy, yes.
Thank you. Sam?
Hill, yes.
Thanks. And Stephanie?
Alves, yes.
Awesome. Thanks. And it's 6:25. Yeah, okay, so we've got the critical stuff done. Do we want to talk about the the moving a house offer that came in yesterday? And then go to project updates? Because since Sam has a hard stop at 7, I want to make sure that, you know, things we actually need to talk about get talked about before she has to go.
Good plan.
Cool.
Okay.
Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I was
Oh,
going to say
yeah.
this is literally moving a house.
Yep. So we got a very random call from a local developer who is redeveloping a parcel at 415 Center Street, going to reorient it around to be, I think, 6 Camden Way, with a new house on it. And there's currently a 1950s, you know, he represents a recently renovated, in good condition ranch house, 3-bedroom, 1 bath. You know, do we want it? Or, you know, I'll call Habitat, but I think they'll also say no thanks. Or they may well say no, because their model is you know, volunteer builds. So it's kind of intriguing, you know, this sort of nice house, but it would have to be moved for anywhere from, I don't know, 15 to 30,000 to a parcel that we'd have to put a foundation on and put in a septic system and do all the utility hookups, which, you know, is maybe a little daunting. I don't know, but it's an intriguing idea. And, you know, of course, we have these 2 parcels. We've got Pequannock, which I think it might fit on quite nicely, and then Morris, which we're hoping to do a duplex at some point. So, you know, do we have sort of initial reactions? Do we want to do more research? Do people have thoughts, questions?
My thought was Pequannock. And my question, obviously, the obvious, is how much does it cost to move a house these days?
Yeah, the developer said anywhere from 15 to 30.
Wow.
Which is not crazy.
No.
It's quite reasonable, but you know, the sort of more daunting thing is putting in a foundation and a septic and doing all the utility hookups and just, you know, getting it up.
How do we acquire this house?
I think it would just be a donation.
It would be a donation. Okay.
And do we need to have some kind of like inspection done, that there wouldn't be, like, that's the first thing that's coming to my mind.
Yeah.
It might not be in good quality,
Right.
or the quality that we would need.
Right.
Did he
Condition.
say that it was recently renovated?
That's what the developer said.
He didn't give details though as to what that kind of means.
Like new bathroom, new cabinets, insulation, you know, everything to code. I don't know. He's, I think, fairly reputable. But yeah, it's like how would we do an inspection and sort of verify?
I have a question. Correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't Easton in the process of transitioning over to sewer and all that stuff? So I don't know if, thinking about, I don't know, creating another septic just to go ahead and change and update in a couple of years to a sewer.
Right. Easton is doing sewer districts. So this stretch of Pequannock will not be in a district, but like Five Corners is tied in with Mansfield, and they have extended or are extending it. No, I think they're done. They've extended it out towards, like, I believe, the Shaw's Plaza. And then Queesit has a wastewater treatment plant, and they've created a district for that goes up and down 138. And then there's another one here in Northeastern with a little treatment plant at the Shovel Works that does sort of the downtown Northeastern area. So there's the 3 that are actually happening. And anything else is very long away. And I think the only other thing on the horizon is trying to get sewer to the industrial park, because that's a really constraint on businesses going in there. But yeah, I don't think there's plans for a sewer on Paquonicket anytime soon.
So did you pull up some rough numbers on, like, you know, so the move, the foundation, a septic? I don't know. Did you play around with what it would kind of cost?
Well, this just came in yesterday and I'm like, okay. And then of course, you know, from our point of view, it would have to be a public procurement. You know, you'd have to go out and get bids and prevailing wage, you know, so what we'd be looking for, you know, the state kind of frowns on you getting creative and breaking one project up into smaller things. So like, you know, what's an estimated cost for demolition of what's there now, and the foundation and septic and the utility hookups, and of course the moving, and there's a, you know, sort of there's a permitting process. You know, I'm sure you have to get permits to actually move the thing, and also Paquonicket is slightly undersized, so it's like technically a non-conforming lot. You know, so you'd have to get the planning board to approve a special permit. I think it would be a special permit from the planning board rather than a variance. I'm not sure which one, because there's an existing non-compliant house. So I think there's provisions that, you know, if you have a house on a non-compliant lot, you can keep having a house on a non-compliant lot, which is the big reason we haven't actually demolished what's there now.
How long do we need, how long do we have to respond to the developer?
I don't know. I
Okay.
think like in a month or two.
Yeah,
You know, I imagine that he'd want to get started.
yeah. Well, I think it's worthwhile looking into, just because of the cost of real estate in Easton right now. I don't know how many other opportunities would have like this, where we have a parcel and we have a potential donation of a potentially a home in potentially good shape.
Mhm.
So I'm happy to help, like, ask some questions and research this over the next couple weeks and see if this is something that might be feasible. I know it's going to have a lot of hurdles
Yeah,
to even get to feasibility, but I'm happy to
thank you.
ask,
Yeah.
you know, work on getting to that point.
And, you know, would we be better off just putting out an RFP and hoping, you know, say a nonprofit like Habitat would just, you know, with a grant, make it all happen?
Now, how much do we have before Habitat already?
We've got, I think, 40 already, and they may need more with the cost of construction and stuff going out, but
Okay. I mean,
so
that would
it's-
be the easiest thing to do. Absolutely.
yeah. But it is intriguing, you know, rather than send something to a landfill, it's like, what would it look like? What would it cost? This is the thing we could actually do.
Yep.
All right, so we'll reconsider this, and hopefully with a yes or a no at the September meeting, and use the next 4 weeks to research potential costs. Maybe I could set up a little conversation with myself, the developer, Nikki, if folks are comfortable with her being the trust sort of rep on this. Maybe a walkthrough. For open meeting, you can actually do site visits, as long as you don't like consider, as long as you don't deliberate. So if it gets to the point where it's like, yeah, come take a look, you know, maybe I could just put up a bat signal and you know, we could do a site visit. People could get a look at it. Yeah, okay, I think, does that sort of like sound like a fair route
I
forward?
think so. Yeah, that works for me.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Excellent.
Okay. So the next up we have is project updates.
Yeah. I'd
Starting
also like
with the
run
rental
through.
assistance program.
Yeah. So the rental assistance program, was funded with $250,000 from a town meeting in June of 2020 and started making grants in September of 2020. We partnered with Metro West Collaborative Development as the the sort of administrator to qualify applicants and disperse the funds. And we've sort of wrapped up the program as of the end of July. Almost all of that $250,000 has been spent. And the maximum number of households, I think we topped out at 34 households. And what I'm looking to do is, now that it's sort of wound down, I want to connect back with Metro West. You may remember they did a sort of interim update on the number of households being helped, the sort of characteristics of the households. So a number of them were quite low income. A lot of them had senior citizens. About half of them had children. So I'd be interested in a sort of a final look back, to get a sense of who we helped, and also the characteristics of the landlords. About half of the landlords were local, for want of a better term, like mom and pop, sort of small time landlords, as opposed to the larger corporate apartment complexes. So I'd look to get a sort of a final report out from Metro West in the next couple of months. And then I think, and we did this halfway through the program, I'd like to go back to the select board and sort of give them an executive summary of, a look back of, because I think it was a really popular program. I think a lot of people really supported it, and got a lot of support at town meeting when folks voted for that $250,000. So I'd like to report back to folks once we sort of finalize the numbers. Then for 300 Foundry Street, if you've been by, they acquired it in 2020. They got all of their permits and approvals at the beginning of this year, and they've been doing a lot of site work. It looks like the septic is in and the foundation is in. It's pretty impressive. I don't know when they plan to finish construction and get occupancy. I'll certainly keep folks updated, but it's just really great to see that they've got all of their approvals and permits, and they're so far along in the site work process.
It looks great. And so for our purposes, obviously the project is still under development, but for our purposes, we're kind of done with it.
We're kind of done. I don't think we have any more expenses. I just want to sort of
Now we just
monitor
have to
it.
watch.
Yeah, just watch it, monitor it, make sure it concludes. Hopefully it'll be like, yay, and we can sort of commemorate it. It'll be a group home, and obviously there's nothing secret about this since it was approved at town meeting. But group homes are technically anonymous. So there's not a lot of hoopla around opening them necessarily.
Gotcha.
But I definitely, circle back with this group and let folks know on the process.
Yep.
And if folks are interested, I could share a screen and share photos, but I'm mindful of Sam having to leave, so,
Okay. Why don't we just go on, and if we have time at the end, we can take a look at some of the pictures.
Yeah, makes sense. And then 10 Electric, that's another great conclusion. The home is up, it's done, it's occupied. Sam and I and Chairperson Dottie Fuldunetti went to the home dedication on June 19th. That Habitat had for the partner family. It looks great. It was a wonderful event. It just really sweet. It's just, go us.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Sam was there. I think you had both of your kids with you.
What was that? I was there, yes, but did
Yeah,
you?
I think you had both of your kids with you.
Oh, yes, my kids, yes, because the person that lives there works at my school, so it was really touching and moving and
Yeah.
great. So yeah, a bunch of teachers were there and yeah, it was.
That's awesome.
Those Habitat people are definitely very moved by their hearts to be so invested, and it was very clear how much passion and yeah, it's a great thing to see.
Yeah, yeah.
Sorry, I missed that one.
I was a little verklempt. Yeah.
Wayne, how long has this project been on our agenda? I mean, I'm pretty sure that it, when I started on the board, it was on the agenda. I mean, it took a long time. It was in land court, right? Putting the two parcels together.
We have been since I think 2015. I mean, we like flagged wetlands in May of 2015. Yeah, and you know, it was like a 2 to 3 year process to get it through land court.
Yep.
Yeah, so we've been doing this since it's been on our horizon since the beginning of 2015, and we've been actively involved in making this happen for 6 years.
Yeah.
6-year project.
Wow.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, celebrating it, getting off our agenda. So thank you, Wayne. Great job.
Yes, and thank you guys. It's just, yeah, it feels so good. You know, all the paperwork and all the stress. And
Yep.
you have like a happy family with a nice new home. It's
Great
just really
story.
great.
Yeah.
And then for 26 Pequannock and 10 more snow reel updates, I haven't put out the RFP yet. One interesting thing is that our most likely, partner, obviously we can't pre-designate, we have to go out with an RFP. But our most likely partner has indicated that there's a good possibility they may not have the capacity to do both at the same time. Morse Road is likely more expensive than we had anticipated because there's no electricity. Water goes up Morse Road, and the site is really easy to install septic on, but there's no electric, so you'd actually have to put in poles and bring in electricity to it. So we may want to, contemplate that we may be asked for, additional assistance in site work. So I would like to, pending what we think about this other opportunity of moving a house to Pequannock, I'd like to craft an RFP such that, both properties could be designated, but wouldn't have to be, sort of acted on simultaneously, that they could be, phased depending on the capacity of the entity that gets them. So it's just sort of like an update of the state of play and where that is.
It's worth a shot to me. And this might actually, I wonder, the moving of the house might be a faster project than other options at Pequannock. Maybe not. Maybe.
Yeah. Or maybe it would be more expensive,
Yeah. A lot of questions. Work
yeah.
through that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's all the critical stuff. When is our next meeting, folks? When are folks available? Because I think historically we were like Wednesdays, but we've been all over the map, obviously. So, and then school is starting up, which I'm sure is its own special level of stress for a lot of folks. But when in September might make sense.
Let's see. I'm pretty, sorry.
We're still Zoom meeting.
Yes, we, so the governor has extended, the state permission to do virtual meetings through April 1st, 2022.
Oh, wow, okay.
So we can do that. And I understand the town, and this is sort of more context, is looking at, is there a way we could do possibly hybrid? I don't know where the town is, the town administrator is with that. But, hybrid, you could have people in person and virtual, which would help with attendance, both from, board members, volunteer board members, and also members of the public. But to do a hybrid, you actually need more and different technology in the various meeting rooms so that you can have people on screen and share things on screen.
Yeah.
And, so it's like, there's a lot to think about, but yes, we're doing hybrid. We're doing virtual, and I've heard no plans to change it.
Okay.
So it's like, what is that? Labor Day is Monday the 6th. And then I guess we're sort of like, back in town for business.
Should we shoot for Wednesday the 8th? How does that look? Or are people out of the office that week? Should we look at the 15th, or is that too far out?
Do people like Tuesdays or Thursdays better?
Tuesday or Thursday is better for me. Wednesdays are not good, but
Okay.
I hope that remains true, but I know Wednesdays definitely no. It's kind of a hard time of year, September, for me to.
Yeah.
But I like the idea of the week after Labor Day.
Okay,
So
so that would be the week of the
Thursday the 9th.
13th.
Sorry?
That would be the week of the 13th.
Yeah, I mean, if that's not too far.
Okay, yeah, so Thursday the 16th.
I would prefer Tuesdays if that's possible.
How very dare you? Okay.
I know. Tuesday the 14th?
Tuesdays and Thursdays don't work for me.
Oh no.
I go back to school, and those are when I have classes.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
Okay.
Monday? How's the
Monday
Monday?
is select board. Monday the 13th is select board.
Okay.
I can make Wednesdays work. I just won't be at home, but I can make it work.
Let's see here.
I'm not a big
Thursdays are
fan.
out for folks. I'm sorry, Chris.
Wednesdays are not my favorite either, unless we do it at like 6:30.
And then Nikki, you cannot do Thursdays, or?
I'd prefer not. I'll figure it out though. Especially depending on the time.
What time, if you could do a Thursday, what would the time look like?
The 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock would be better for me. The earlier would be better.
And then, so what would say Thursday the 16th look like for everybody, and what time would work for folks? If we actually looked at a Thursday.
Let's see, Thursday the 16th.
Can't make anything work the Thursday the 16th.
Thursday the 16th will not work for me at all.
Okay.
I'll probably get back from school at like by the time I reach Easton, maybe 10 o'clock at night.
Oh my goodness. So I'm hearing basically Wednesdays are really the only thing that work for you, Stephanie.
No, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday would work.
Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
Okay. So maybe we alternate monthly, doing like a.
And is Wednesday doable for folks?
Yeah, I can make Wednesday work. So if I'm the only one, I think.
Chris and Sam are tough on Wednesdays. So there's two that have.
But
it's
I
not
can
ideal.
be there with a funny background and some earbuds, but I can, I can do it.
And I can do it if it's a little later, if it's instead of 6, if we do 6:30.
So Wednesday, the 15th at 6:30 is possible?
Yep. That's fine for me.
Is that thumbs up all around?
Yeah.
Okay.
So Wednesday the 15th.
6:30, Wednesday,
Yep.
September 15th is the next Affordable Housing Trust meeting.
Okay.
Look at us. Back to monthly
Yes.
meetings.
And Wayne, maybe I will give you a call on Monday, or you can give me a call on Monday, and we can get to work on the
Yeah,
center
the house offer thing.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
brainstorming on where we go from there.
Yes, that'd be good. Cool. Are we done?
Yeah, unless you want to show the pictures really quickly.
Let me see if I can do this. Please hold. All right, let me see. Let me see how I share screen. Screen share. Okay, what do I do to make it happen?
Bottom of the screen, the green
Yep.
arrow. Then you
Yep.
get to pick which window you want to share.
It says only host, all panelists. It's an option, but it doesn't allow me to start.
Double click on it. No?
There we go. Look at you. Let's do the screen.
There it is. We see it. Oh, we're starting to see it.
Yeah.
It says you're sharing, but we're not seeing it. Oh, there we are.
Yeah. How's that? Is it big enough?
Good job.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you. Whew. Okay. Yeah. So here's 300 Foundry. Look at that. You're doing great.
Moving.
Guys. Yeah, and you can see the foundation going in.
Yep.
It's pretty exciting. I gotta
Yeah.
tell you.
That's great.
I've spent so much of my time, stomping around back in there for the last several years.
Yeah.
And it's it's sort of nicely tucked back in the woods, so it's not really intrusive, I think, to the very few abutters. So I think it's a nice secluded spot for folks.
But moving quickly too.
Yeah. So here's hoping it keeps on moving. But it's great. Do you have any for electric?
Awesome.
Yeah, it's wonderful. So happy. Yeah, and there's electric, 10 electric.
How cute.
Yeah, it's really nice.
Nice looking house.
There's the ribbon cutting.
Awesome. Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that one.
Yeah, it's nice.
That's awesome.
Cool. Well, thank you, everybody.
Nice job.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's been very cool.
Okay, well, it has been a wonderful August meeting of the Affordable Housing Trust. What time is it? We can make a motion. I'll make a motion to adjourn at 6:53.
I
I
second
will.
that.
Okay.
Okay, well, Sam beat you to it. Okay. And then going around, Nikki.
Just yes.
And then who comes up next? Jen?
Stacy, yes.
And then Chris?
Sheedy, yes.
And Sam?
Hill, yes.
And Stephanie.
Alves, yes.
Thank you. We are adjourned. Thank you all, and I'll see you again in September.
Thank
Great.
you. Thanks,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Have a good
Bye,
night.
guys.
Have a good night. Bye.
See ya.
Bye, guys.
Bye.